Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Money. I'm Ron Williford, I'm your host. Today we're going to talk about entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is one of the fastest growing segments of our economy. Many people are taking the opportunity to take their skill sets and then move into a different direction. My guest today is Miss Paula Little. Paula's the owner of the company Blue, and she's in the business space of self-improvement. She's also a yoga instructor. Let me be quiet. Let me let Paula introduce herself.
Hey, Ron, how are you?
Hi, Paula. Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, so I actually have a virtual online studio, and then what I do is we're into intuitive wellness, purpose, and also common solutions. And I started this business from being an ex-franchise owner, and I realized that I'm a sort of a crossbreed. I'm a crossbreed of someone who loves business, and I also love the intuitive wellness and spiritual practices, yoga, meditation, and things like that. So I incorporated them both together, and I started a business. And what I do is I help people who are interested in either starting a new position or starting a business as an entrepreneur, and I kind of prepare them for the purpose part of picking the right path.
Okay, great.
Or getting close to it, at least.
I kind of cheated. I went in and I took a look at Paula's business. Actually, there's 21 modules. I'm at module 13 already.
Yeah.
So it's actually a great thing that you're doing. And you had mentioned, why did you actually get started? Was there something that you needed to shift, or was there something you saw, or was there a trend in the marketplace that got you to that point?
Yeah, it's actual all of those above.
Okay.
So the one thing that I can say for entrepreneurs is that it's very important that if you're starting to go into a business, that you're aligned with your purpose or your passion. So entrepreneurship is almost like the American dream, right? So people are thinking like, oh, this is going to be great. I'm going to make a lot of money. I'm going to be very successful. It's going to give me power. I'm going to have freedom. I'm going to be able to spend time with my family. But it's very important that you look at the purpose aspect as to what you're doing this for and why are you doing it, and it doesn't have any passion for you. So there's four important things that I always talk to my community and also talk to my clients about in terms of getting into entrepreneurship business. And the first thing is that you have to focus on your purpose and your passion. Okay. And there's four questions that I have my clients ask themselves before they go into down this route.
Now, you're also a yoga instructor. Where does the yoga piece fit? Because most people think yoga, they think stretch, they think the different positions. How does yoga fit into what you're actually, as far as a business person?
Yeah, so the yoga part is a physical part of it, but there's also a mindset part to yoga too. Because yoga helps you go within, it helps you find your inner self. And in my program, the program that you discussed earlier, the Blue Purpose Project, we don't do any yoga in that course at all. I have a course.
See, that's what I need, though.
That's all right. I have a course coming for that.
Great.
This one is just the first baby set, the first baby step in getting your mindset right. So you got to get your mindset right before you start getting into that. Because yoga can get really deep and it can get very spiritual, and it also can bring up some things from you that you don't really realize that you had deep within. But the first part that I like to focus on is getting your mindset right. And getting your mindset right means that you have to focus on getting your purpose or trying to discover what it is.
Now, how do you define your purpose? How do you get to the point of figuring out what your purpose is?
It's very difficult. So discovering your purpose is very difficult for most people. Okay. And I don't even tell people what their purpose is or what it should be. But what I do is I help gear them towards a mindset of thinking about how they can connect with their purpose. Okay. So when you're connecting with your purpose, right now there's a 500,000 different types of opportunities that you can pick out in the world in terms of jobs, careers, being an entrepreneur. If you want to be an activist, like there's a 500,000 different areas that you can venture off to.
Now, how did you come to where you're at?
Well, I came to where I'm at after where I am now from being by being a franchise owner, and knowing that when you get to a certain point of your life, it's very important that you pick something that you're aligned with. Okay. So even in the Blue Purpose Project, for example, I help everyone with seeking the mindset for a purpose. I help everyone, but in the Blue Purpose Project, This is for individuals who were born between 1960 and 1975. And the reason why,
make the cut.
That's all right. That's why I said anybody can join.
Okay.
But the reason why I picked this certain age range is because there comes a time in your life that you're going to look at your life sort of like a mountain.
Right.
And you're going up this mountain, and then right there between that 45 and that 60, you're starting to reach the peak of the mountaintop.
Okay.
And you're going to have two choices.
I've been to the mountaintop.
You're going to look backwards at your life,
Okay.
and then you're going to start to look on the other side of the mountain, and on the other side of the mountain is a decline.
Okay. Now, what if the other side is blank? What do you do then?
Well, right there when you're at that peak of that mountain,
Okay.
or getting close to the peak, you're going to start looking back at your life, and you're going to say, like, wow, I never really got a chance to do the things that I really wanted to do. Like, I never really found my purpose. I came right out of high school, and I just did what what my parents
Right.
told me, or what was a good idea at the
Go
time.
to school, get a job, go on the service.
You know,
those are the three.
and
Right.
then you start going through your existential crisis or your midlife crisis,
Okay.
and then you start making impulse decisions, because you're looking back at your life, and then you're also looking at your timeline. I don't have a lot of time left, so before I leave this earth, I want to do what I want to do. So your mind starts to shift from the things that you did in the past. I just did this job for the money, or I just did this job
Right.
because it was the only thing that I did, versus what do I want to spend my glory years doing.
Okay.
And that's what I do. I help people get to that, to kind of discover some of those things that they always wanted to do, so that they can live a life of purpose and hopefully
Now,
get to
to
happiness.
get them there, are you in instruction, or is it like manuals that they do, or courses that, how do you get them to think about that?
Yeah, so there's right now I do it in a course. I do it in the form of a course. I also do some coaching too.
Okay.
So I'm a purpose mindset strategist. So we kind of hash out some of the things
Okay.
that people questions that they may have about discovering purpose. But for any entrepreneur, anyone going this route, there's 4 things that I should suggest that they should think about. And the 4 questions are: who do I want?
To take notes.
Write it down.
All right.
So who do I want to become? And that's the first question that you want to ask. So
Okay.
before you go into any sort of promotion, business, entrepreneurship, you got to ask who you're going to become, because you're going to be that person. This is going to be your brand. This is what people are going to know you for.
Okay.
This is what you're going to stand for. So you have to ask yourself, who do I want to become? The second question you want to ask is, who do I want to serve?
Right.
Do you want to serve elderly people? Do you want to serve children? Do you want to make sure homeless people, find a place to live? Do you want to have, help people with a gluten-free diet? Like,
Right.
who do you feel that you're compassionate about? What group are you compassionate about that you would like to help?
Okay.
And then the third question you're going to want to ask is, how do I want to do it? So do I want to do it a brick and mortar? Do I want to do a nonprofit organization? Do I want to coach? Do I want to write a book?
Right.
You might be a restaurant owner and realize that you can't afford to go into a brick and mortar right now, but you can do online videos and promote a cookbook,
Okay.
or you might want to go into catering. So I just kind of help people get around to thinking about these things. And then the last question is, what is the outcome that you hope to gain, or that you hope to get from it?
Now, is the outcome always monetarily, or is it just maybe peace of mind, or
You're reading my
doing,
mind.
doing the will, doing God's will, or whatever your objective is?
And that's the key. Because if your answer is money, then it's probably going to be a short-term.
Okay. And do you think that's why sometimes businesses fail? Because they're focused more on the financial piece as opposed to, as you say, the purpose?
The money.
Okay.
And that's a big part of it. So if somebody can go into business and make a whole lot of money, right? And they can just take off, and they're making a lot of money. But there's always going to be that if you can't answer those 4 questions that I just went through,
Right.
and you're not passionate about who you want to become, who you're going to serve, and then all you're thinking about is how you're going to do it for the money, then you're going to make a lot of money but not be happy. Or you can have the person who doesn't make a lot of money, and they're in a business that they have no passion for.
Right.
They don't like it. They don't enjoy it. and they don't have that win that win behind that sale that's going to catapult them to do well because they're in a business that they just don't enjoy, that they just don't like.
Great. So now in my business, I coach people with their businesses, put together business plans. Do you think that when a person is, because sometimes we look at financials, we look at market segments, we look at everything, all the components, your operations. So do you think if someone's considering a business, the first thing they should do is find out what the purpose is and find out within that purpose what their mission's going to be?
Yeah, you really do have to. Now, money is important because I know that you're a money guy. So I'm not.
Got to pay the bill.
I know, and you know, and that's what one of the other problems is, that a lot of people are living in survival mode. So if you take a look at the world right now, and this is another reason why I did the Blue Jay Purpose Project, it's because people are operating in survival mode.
Right.
And when people operate in survival mode, they do things that they don't really enjoy doing or don't necessarily want to do. They do it because they have to do it, because they have to bring an income. They have to bring money into their households, which you can't blame people for wanting to do that. But whenever you do something like that, that should always be temporary. Your main purpose, we all have a purpose, but our main purpose in this world is to come in to discover our purpose and make this world a better place to be. But your main purpose is to do something that's within alignment of what you're here for.
Okay.
And that's why it's very important that purpose comes.
So to figure out that alignment, is there some spiritual stuff that needs to be working, or?
Yeah. So your spiritual practices come into play, but the most people are going to discover their purpose mostly by going within and answering some very difficult and tough questions. Okay. And they're questions that a lot of people never bring up. And there are things that can hold you back. It could be limiting beliefs. It could be having a belief system growing up by a family who believe one way, but as you go into adulthood, you realize, you know what, I shouldn't believe those same thoughts that my mother or my father did, because had I did it my way, I probably could have been this, or I could have been much more successful. And then there's a lot of fears that people have instilled in people as you start to grow up. So you might have a desire to want to do something, but you have a fear to do it because maybe your parents told you money is the root of all evil.
Right.
And you may have grown up thinking like, man, if I make a lot of money, then it's considered evil. But money gives you already know what money can do for you. You have a lot of leverage to do a lot of things when you have a lot of money. So it's just going in really to ask some of those really, really tough questions.
Now what do you do? I mean, there's a lot of noise that you hear in the background. How do you get rid of that noise, or how do you deal with the noise?
Yeah, so noise is an issue. And that's one of the reasons why calming solutions is very important. So the world is very chaotic, and as you know, what we're living in right now are some really, really difficult times. The other thing is that we have social media, and there's a lot of advertisements, and there's bells and whistles. There are carrots dropping out of everywhere. Like everywhere you go, you're going to see a carrot drop where somebody's going to say, pick me, come over here, do this, you should do this, you should do this. And for a person who's looking to make a change and they want to try something different, you have to kind of settle your spirit down. You have to kind of calm yourself down a little bit. And part of that is developing common solutions. So we pray all the time, like, please help me, God, help me, lead me in the right direction. And why am I having these financial problems? How can I get out of here? Or, why am I in this relationship? Right. Like, please help me. But then our lives are so busy that we're really not calming ourselves down to hear the answer. Right. And that's where you might want to consider having a sacred space in your own house where you can sit down and settle down and start to have your own timeouts. Okay. Especially if you're already working as an entrepreneur, because that's very key also. Now,
you've run a business, you have a business background. Now, what are the instructions to become a yoga? To become a yoga. I know you're certified to do that. What type of training do you need to get into that field?
Well, I did it I'm not going to say there's a right way or there's a wrong way.
Paths to do.
Yeah, so there's different paths, and now there's even online instruction for yoga.
Do you get a certification, or you just hang up a shingle and say, I'm a yoga instructor.
No, you got to put your hours. It's based on hours. So
Okay.
the first step is doing 200 hours of yoga. So I was fortunate enough to be able to experience yoga in a way that a lot of people may not be able to do. So, because you really have to have a lot of time with this. So between the time that where I came out of the franchise field and started Blue Jay, there was a period of time that I had the opportunity to go into the mountains and study yoga. So I did it. I'm talking about like no TV.
Oh wow, that would be tough.
Yup, cell phone. You're going into a booth, an old-fashioned wooden phone booth. Okay. And almost an all-vegan diet. It was wonderful.
Oh man, no steak and potatoes?
It was very little meat.
Wow.
And very little sugars, you know, but it's a cleanse, and that cleanse is a spiritual cleanse, it's a mental cleanse. Your body feels refreshed, your senses are in tune. I mean, I'm telling you, like, it was the best experience ever. And then you go into, like, I did it 3 times, at 3 different times, but my 2 longest stints, I mean, when you come out of there, you really learn how to relive life. You really understand what life is really about. And to be honest with you, when I came back to my hometown, I felt like I was dropped into a circus.
Really?
Oh yeah, because you come out of this calmness and this peacefulness, and you kind of realize that, you know, why God created humans and why we're here on this earth. And then you go back to, and I come from the big city, so you go back to the hustle and the bustle of the big city, and you see all the movement and everything all around you and all the distractions. You start to realize the difference between this side and that side. And then it makes you really want to figure out, like, why am I here on this earth, and what it is, what is it that I'm really supposed to do? And then you start to realize that God has given you a beautiful backdrop. The world, like what He's given us, is so beautiful, and we take it for granted. And then what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to discover that beautiful backdrop that you have inside yourself, and then you're supposed to nurture it and then help serve someone else, or give your talent to someone else, or share your gift to someone else. And that's what it did for me. But while I was there, I did yoga. I became a yoga instructor while I was out there. I did a
so
vinyasa.
It was like you went away course. And then you did yoga. Was a part of the package.
It was a part of the package.
So I guess
the whole time.
When you came back, you saw a ready-made market. When you left the mountaintop, you came back and looking at the situation and what's going on in the world. So I guess you kind of started to put together your business plan at that point.
I did, because then I saw the need for so many people who are not calm. And then before I left, Ron, I found a need of people when I was in business.
Right.
When I was in business, I think that people felt like she's doing something good. Like she got her name on the window. She got her own business. She's doing it.
She's got it going on.
She's got it going on.
Right.
And people felt a need to really tell me what their dreams were too.
Okay.
So I was able to really help people open up by me being a business owner. So when the conversation usually goes, so what do you do for a living? And they tell me, and then they say everything's great. Oh, it's great. I love. I like what I do. I like my job. But then there's always that but, and it's always like, but you really don't like your job.
Right. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because you're conditioned to say that you're
big but, right?
Yeah, because we're conditioned as people to say that whatever you're doing is the right choice.
Right.
Whatever I'm doing is the best thing that's for me. So I started peeling back the layers, and then I realized that you really don't like what you do, and you really have a desire and a dream to do something else.
Right.
And I found that my customers at the time would come in, and they would want to talk to me. They would pay their bill in person, but it's not. They could have did online. They could have did everything. They could have did. I was their coach. Okay. I realized that like they come in because it's therapeutic to want to talk about what you really want to do.
Right.
And that you're not doing. So there's some therapeutics in that.
Well, even looking at money, it's part of it is mindset. It's how you view money, and so when you talk money, a lot of the stuff is emotional.
It is.
So I could see where if you're consulting someone on another level, where they're going to open up to you. So I guess in so many ways, you're already doing what you've evolved to do now.
Absolutely.
Which is, you know, I guess at one point did you decide that that's it with the franchise, and now it's time to go do what my true calling is?
Yeah, it's funny because when I opened the franchise, I was at a fork in the road,
Okay.
and the fork in the road was: do I do this that I'm doing now, or do I do this franchise business that I got into? And I chose to do the franchise business that I got to
Now,
go
what was
into.
the motivating factor for a decision?
Money.
Okay.
So I was thinking that, you know, I can speed up the process of my retirement. So if I can get something that's going to generate me more money,
Right.
then I can, you know, speed up my nest egg, you know, and then once I speed up this nest egg and get my money stacked up, then I can go off and do what I want to do with spiritual practices and yoga and
Okay.
helping people and coaching and all that. But it doesn't always go that way.
Right.
So that's why when people are thinking about going into the entrepreneurship field, you have to align yourself with what you believe that your passion and your purpose is.
So now if you look back and you see the obstacles of the franchise, do you see that was somewhat of a training for you? Or was it?
It was the
Was it
best learning. I'm telling you, it was the most painful experience I ever had in my entire life. I can almost cry thinking about it.
Oh, let me get a tissue.
But I won't do that. But also it was the biggest learning experience that I ever had in my life. So
Okay.
I learned more doing the business than I ever learned going to school when I was getting my MBA.
Okay.
So it was a learning experience, and that experience is what's helping me to help people now.
Okay.
So when I was in the business, you know, I was like, you know, what is it, God? What is it that you want me to do? And he was like, I want you to teach people how to love life. And I said, I'm not going to be able to do that because I don't really love my own life right now. So I'm not
Okay.
really feeling this right now. So, but you know how we are as people. We get a message or our inner voice is telling us
And you
this,
just ignore
and
it.
you just ignore it, or you just keep saying one day I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna get to it, I'm gonna get to it, I'm gonna get to it, and you just ignore it. But the day that I surrendered and I said, okay, that's it. Whatever it is that you want me to do, I'll do it. Things started happening for me,
Right, okay.
and then the little miracles started dropping out of the sky, and things, you know, the
So
doors
you're
were starting to
basically
open.
blocking your blessing.
Yeah, so
Okay.
right. So you know, the doors, you know, the sea opened, and I was able to get across. You know what I mean? So, you know, things start to happen for you when you start to surrender,
Right.
and it takes courage, because it took courage for me to jump, because I was in a nice, really cozy situation. I mean,
Right.
you know, I was making a good income, I made a good life for myself, and I took that jump. And then it was like, all right, I took the jump, and then I have to jump again.
Right.
You know what I mean? So sometimes that's how it is for you in life. You have to kind of keep jumping from path to path to path to path to path until you can find your straight path, so that you can sail through and get to what it is that you've always wanted to
Right.
do.
Okay, great. Now,
Yeah.
Paula, what's the best way that someone can get a hold of you, to reach out to you?
Yes, so several ways. You can go to BaluJay.com. Baloo sounds like the color blue, but it's
Okay.
spelled different. It's BHALOOJAY, BaluJay.com. And I'm also on Instagram, Facebook, and
And what's your website?
BaluJay.com.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I enjoyed talking to you.
It was a pleasure
I learned
being
some
here.
things myself. Like I say, I'm in module 13 in your Blue Jay project.
Okay, good.
So I'm going to try to complete that. You know, like you said, you know, you look back and you look at your life, and you kind of look back, you look forward, and then you say, well, hey, maybe some of the things I did were for a reason, even the good and the bad. And you just keep it moving.
Yeah, and we need more people on board to help this world become a better place. So we're on a mission, 100,000 people, either directly or indirectly.
Okay.
So if we can get people to go on board and find their purpose, then they can help other people.
Oh, that sounds great. Well,
Yeah.
you know, I'm in.
Okay,
I hope-
good.
Do I get a prize for being like maybe like the first 10 people?
Well, I would say you would get a purpose, but you already have one.
Okay.
Yeah.
But thanks again for coming in today. I appreciate you, and I appreciate all that you do. And once again, it's Paula Little, and her name of her organization is BaluJay, BHALOOJAY.
OOJAY, Balujay.
.com. And I'd invite you, if you're an entrepreneur and you're looking for your purpose, I think Paula may have some of the answers you're looking for. But thanks a lot. Thanks for joining us for Let's Talk Money, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks for your time.